Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As man, oh man, do we see some powerful information coming out. This is the current scheduling for this Rippleverse SEC case. As of today, there's absolutely nothing left to be briefed in this case. Now we wait. We're waiting for a decision. We're waiting for a potential settlement. And before anything else, I have to give a big thank you to XRP community attorneys James Filan, John Deaton, Jeremy Hogan, Attorney Bill, and other individuals that have been at the ground floor giving us all the information we need to stay informed. No other crypto community on the planet would ever dare try and hustle as hard as we have, getting all the facts, documents, and corruption noted the way the XRP army has. And that's why we're the best community on the planet. And I can't stress that enough. In addition, guys, we have to remember the other day at Davos when Brad Garlinghouse was discussing how the Hinman emails show there is no possible way the SEC could possibly have believed XRP is a security based on their own internal discussions. And I thoroughly believe that it's him putting pressure publicly on Gary Gensler to come to the negotiation table and get things done. Brad Garlinghouse is a very smart CEO. I would argue the best CEO in all of crypto. And something I'll tell all of you is the pressure's on. We see all these cases begin to be filed and actually settled. For example, this Nexo case that in one day settled for the SEC, a $45 million collection. You see, Gary Gensler's having a lot of dirt thrown around on his name right now. But what you need to understand is, he's not a dummy. He's protecting his incumbent friends. But now, I think he needs to start saving his own ass, as Congress is going to begin investigating him. And he also is going to have to be dealing with much bigger cases and actual instances of fraud that are coming to the forefront. We see the SEC is ramping up their enforcement actions. Finally, Sam Bankman-Fried has been charged by the SEC with defrauding FTX investors. And while we all know this should have been done a long time ago, I'm glad to see it's finally happening. A lot of crypto projects are going to be coming under the ring of fire right now. Regulations are about to begin. 99% of cryptos are going to die. But that 1% that will survive will go absolutely parabolic. Ladies and gentlemen, there's actually one crypto that I've put a little more money into that I believe is going to have explosive growth, especially after some news that I just saw broke the other day about it. You can find which crypto I'm talking about down in my Udemy course as the most recent lecture, and also in my OnlyFans and Discord. And if you aren't following me on those platforms already, you definitely should. Now guys, when we turn and look at the overall crypto market, we can see that Bitcoin is exploding right now, up 7% at 22.5K, Ether at 1660, and XRP has passed that 41 cent mark. I believe bullish momentum is going to be continuing for the next couple months, especially due to the fact that we didn't have a retracement upwards for crypto for all of 2022. Crypto's definitely been oversold. And with all these bankruptcies and potential lawsuits coming, what you need to understand is the maximum fear has already been priced into the crypto market. And I believe the maximum reward is coming soon. The news of the day is that Genesis, crypto lender, filed for bankruptcy in the latest blow to Barry Silbert's digital currency group empire. And instead of a rational reaction to the downside for the crypto market, what we see is an explosion to the upside, and that's because these crypto prices, they price potential news in advance. These people, the smart money, the 1%, they're not going to send you an email letting you know when they're about to invest hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars of capital into this market. They're just going to do it, and you're just going to figure it out afterwards and FOMO into it. Retail investors to these people are exit liquidity. And the only way you can possibly win is by being a contrarian. On this channel, every single day, we're contrarian investors. And that's why we will become the new 1%. Now, guys, not only that, something you need to remember from Tiffany Fong, on the ground journalist of this FTX debacle, is that John Ray, the new CEO, says he's open to the idea of rebooting FTX. There's massive conflicts of interest and corruption when it comes to the collapse of FTX. And I've been watching the Bernie Madoff docu-series on Netflix recently, and the parallels between FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried and Bernie Madoff cannot go unnoticed. This is a Ponzi scheme if I've ever seen one. However, the reason we're not going to get justice the way I believe we deserve to get justice is because the United States Congress, numerous politicians, at least over 190 of them, have been paid in some way, shape, or form by FTX. We need to see what happens. But something I genuinely believe is because of Gary Gensler's ties to corruption, settlements, and more enforcement actions, and more money needs to be made for him to keep his job and his attempt to clear his name. But if there is something every single one of you in this audience needs to understand is the SEC, their shit stinks. The law firm Sullivan and Cromwell is facing scrutiny in the FTX bankruptcy hearing this Friday. And remember that former SEC Chairman Jay Clayton works with them. In addition, we need to remember Bill Hinman's connections with Simpson Thacher. And this clip explains it best as far as the totality of the SEC's nonsense is concerned.
When William Hinman was named Director of Corporation Finance at the SEC, he fought to keep getting millions of dollars in payments from his old law firm, Simpson Thacher. But Hinman was warned by the ethics office it would be a crime to do anything that would affect Simpson Thacher. No meetings, no phone calls, or he'd be breaking criminal law. But Hinman ignored the legal warnings. He met with Simpson Thacher again and again. He met repeatedly with head of its D.C. office before and after he delivered a market-moving speech declaring the digital assets Bitcoin and Ether as not securities. When Simpson Thacher joined the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, a group with the sole mission to promote Ethereum. Then Hinman connected with Chris Lin, a partner in the Simpson Thacher's China office, who had IPO business before Hinman's division for a Chinese client that makes and sells Bitcoin and Ether mining equipment. Lin asked to meet with Hinman to, quote, report what is going on in China. Hinman said yes. Did Hinman commit a crime? It's time for an investigation. Only Congress has oversight on the SEC. Demand your lawmakers support an investigation. Connect to Congress today.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure many of you are aware of the two dirty little S words that circulate the XRP army on a consistent basis, and those are settlement and speculation. Here, I'm witnessing all the corruption by the SEC. Bill Hinman's connections, Jay Clayton's connections, Gary Gensler and his FTX connections, as well as those Hinman emails. All these things at the exact same time, in my opinion, lead me to believe if the SEC is a rational actor and if they want to continue coming down with enforcement actions against crypto projects, that they need to settle with Ripple, because if there's one crypto company that could beat the SEC, It is Ripple. They have the money. They have the facts. They've been working within the law to the best of their ability, despite uncertainty. And you better believe, I think the SEC wants their power maintained. They're currently coming after numerous crypto exchanges, and they have a right to. Plenty of them will settle. Nexo's an example. And I think the SEC needs to go on their collection cycle and leave Ripple the hell alone. Let's see if that ultimately plays out. I'm leaning towards a settlement scenario that may come out of nowhere. But at the end of the day, this could always end up being a decision made by the judge. Time is running out. But what I'll say is that XRP price is beginning to be let loose. In addition, guys, something that happened recently was a Bank of America glitch, sending customers into a panic over missing funds. Something I'll say is I never believe anything like this is a coincidence. I always think that this is the gradual planting of seeds and a priming of the minds of the masses to see how the reactions will take place. There have been numerous instances of bank accounts being drained, bank bail-ins, and financial crises everywhere. Cyprus, Sri Lanka, Lebanon, the world, and the financial system is falling apart internationally. We've seen these examples happen time and time again. And there will be a moment, mark my words, where this comes to the United States. This is the predictive programming of the Great Financial Reset and the freezing of the financial system that I believe will happen in the not too distant future. And that is why I consistently say I have minimal amount of money in my bank accounts. Savings accounts in 2023 are synonymous with losing accounts. Inflation is destroying your savings. Crypto is my hedge against inflation. XRP is my wealth generating vehicle against this financial crisis. And at the end of the day, 2022 we got laughed at. But moving into the future, we're going to be correct. This is not only a system that they want, but it's a system they need. They want to take your money. They want central bank digital currencies. They want maximum control. And they'll do it through universal basic income once you're too poor and too broke that you'll beg for it. Ladies and gentlemen, the new digital control grid through the new digital financial system is taking place. And in an accelerated race to that system, 2023 is going to be a transitional year for it. You don't believe me? It's still true. And listen to one of the biggest institutions on the planet, BlackRock, tell you exactly where this is all going to go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. Prepare for the settlement. Be in this asset class this year. Continue to dollar cost average. Have an exit strategy to profit ready. And become the new 1%. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code right. Of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem. You don't need trust banks.
But does that disrupt you eventually? Because you are custodying all of these assets.
No, we're not a custodian. We're not. We use third-party custodians in everything we do.
In everything you do.
We're not a custodian bank.
So your goal. By the way, I don't think that he was technically a custodian either, which is a separate issue.
I think they were. I don't know if there was a real custodian in that closed ledger, but that's a whole other story. You should ask him that question. No, I mean, the transformation, think about instantaneous settlement,
Right.
bonds and stocks. No middlemen. We're going to bring down fees even more dramatically. As for me, I don't have to vote on any shares anymore because the beneficial owner will do all the voting.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.